going on, everybody? As you may or may not know, my name is Nate, founder of For the Winners and For the Win Creatives. I'm here on a little small interview with my guys. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Cvatik, right?
Yeah, that's close.
He
How you
said,
doing, Nate? Hello, everybody.
he says that's his photography name, in Russian. And a lot of you guys already know him. He's like blowing up over Instagram right now. Over 200,000 followers on Instagram. His Twitter is going crazy too. So I'm pretty sure you already know his name. So we're just going to ask him a few little questions about the non-fun part of photography that a lot of you guys don't really like to address. So we're going to address that and also get into some ways that you can actually try to monetize off your photography too, besides actually taking pictures, because that's a major question that people ask as well. Like, how can I monetize my photography without me actually having to do anything or be there? So we felt like this was the perfect guy to reach out to, because he's another guy that's going crazy on the e-commerce side as well. So the first thing that we're really going to get into is a lot of people ask about the legal side of photography, LLC, how to set up an LLC, the importance of contracts and different things like that. So could you give some photographers and really some creators in general some recommendations on how to go about setting up an LLC and the importance of contracts, etc.?
Well, I think a lot of it is self-explanatory. You need to be a legal business in order to legally make money. You don't want people to be chasing you like the IRS. So anytime you're doing a wedding or a client shoot or anything like that, you want to make sure you're covered. You want to make sure you have a contract for liability purposes. You want to make sure you have insurance, and you want to make sure you're an actual registered business. So everything's basically by the book. This makes your clients feel better, and it makes you have a sense of security as well.
Okay. So how did you go about setting all of this up? Did you use something like LegalZoom, or did you go through an attorney, a lawyer? How did you go about setting this up?
I would recommend either using LegalZoom or just going to like a local attorney. Don't go to one of the big guys. This is just an LLC. This is not a case or anything like that. As far as writing up contracts, honestly, like you can Google sample client contract, sample wedding contract, sample modeling contract. Look it over, edit it, change up anything you need, have your lawyer look over it, and there you go. Of course, you can write a contract from scratch, or you can hire someone to write it from scratch. But honestly, these days, you can just Google sample X or Y contract, edit it to fit your needs and your client's needs, and go from there.
Now, explain to us how you're currently monetizing, all of the ways that you're monetizing off your photography right now, every single one.
Well, my business is a little different and kind of unique compared to people that I looked up to, or people who I follow, or people in the same kind of realm as me. Whereas I don't do client work. I don't shoot for brands. I'm not shooting for Gucci or anything like that. I don't have any partnerships with like clothing companies or vitamins or anything like that. 100% of my income is from other photographers who are fans of my style, want to emulate my style, want to learn from me. So the way I monetize my following and my skills is I offer things that will help people who are starting out or people who are intermediate and want to learn a new kind of skill. So I offer Lightroom presets, which are basically a professional filter, if you don't really know what it is, that gives people a head start and kind of gives them a springboard to learn color editing, color grading in Lightroom. I do things like workshops, and I have a coffee table photo book available just to serve as kind of an inspiration book. So yeah, I guess mine's a little unique, as in I mostly monetize to other photographers rather than to, models hire me for shoots or clients hire me for weddings or anything like that.
So pretty much you shoot when you want to shoot. Let's put it like that. You shoot.
Yeah, all of my photo shoots, every single photo shoot I have, I'll spend the money on renting a space, the clothing, everything like that. But every single photo shoot is on my own time, because every single photo shoot kind of is an advertisement for my presets, for my book, for my... So I'm basically constantly advertising all of those things through my photo shoots. So I don't have somebody telling me what to shoot or when to shoot. It's all on my own.
See, and I'm happy. This is a very interesting conversation. This is a very, very interesting conversation because you really don't see a lot of photographers doing this, and you see a lot of photographers complaining, and not even just photographers, creators in general, getting paid for jobs that they really don't like, that they really don't want to do. A lot of people want to do the photography as their passion, but they know that they feel like there's no other way to really make money off of what they're doing, so they kind of have to do a lot of jobs that they really don't want to do. Yeah. So you've literally found a niche, and you found a different lane to where you can do what you want to. You can do the passion and you can do the fun part when you want to do it and how you want to do it, and still make a boatload of cash. Really, really, really interesting. So how did you actually get the idea to do this? Because you pretty much just created an e-commerce store out of it. that's literally what you did. So how did you get this idea? What inspired you to do this?
Honestly, I was working, a day job. I was doing photography on the side, and as I built up a following over time, like, this is what I do. It's not something you can set out to do right away. Like, you have to have the following there. You have to have the thousands of messages every day of people saying, hey, how did you edit this? Like, hey, what camera do you use? Hey, can you give me some tips? And then once you see all this, you're like, oh, like, a lot of people want to know this stuff. A lot of people want this kind of help. So it wasn't even so much as I just had this idea one day as like, oh, I have all these messages coming in asking these questions. How can I monetize this? How can I help them out at the same time? How can I offer something to these people? And that's kind of where it came from. It's just people asking. I want to add that I think the mistake people make is they try to monetize too early. If I tried to offer educational tools or Lightroom presets or workshops when I had, like a 30,000 following instead of like, I think I started at like 120,000 was when I first started offering that kind of stuff. It would have been too early, and it would have seemed like kind of like a money grab, or like, oh, like you're not like here yet, you're here. And I think a lot of people make that mistake because they want to monetize too early. They get kind of big-headed, and I was definitely guilty of that when I first started. I remember, I think I had like 500 followers, and I was complaining about clients. I was complaining about people canceling. And I feel like the smaller you are, the more you're going to complain about that stuff. And as you grow, it'll kind of get past you, And I really think the most important thing is to wait. Just be patient and do it at the right time. Don't try to monetize too early. Keep your day job, or keep doing client work, and just keep building up the audience. Make sure the audience is there first.
I totally agree with you, and I'm happy that you said that too, because a lot of people make that mistake. A lot of people really do make that mistake. And even as far as people charging in the beginning when they first start doing photography as well. Me, I had to put in a lot of work. I had to work for free a lot of times just to build my reputation up. You know what I'm saying? Just to get my feet wet. A lot of people try to start out just out the gate charging people top dollar for their photography and different stuff like that, and wonder why they're not making any money.
Exactly.
So like I definitely agree with you when you talk about not trying to monetize too early and just jumping out the gate too early without really getting your feet wet. So that's definitely a good point that you made there. Now,
there's more jaded about their self-worth than a photographer who just started out.
Next question is, a lot of people ask, how can they market themselves as a photographer? How can they pretty much market to whatever audience it is, out there that they're trying to target? And what are some slept on industries that you think people aren't really paying attention to where they can really make money in photography? Like, you're doing e-commerce. A lot of people really aren't thinking of e-commerce stores. So what are some slept on, industries people can get into to make money from their photography?
Well, I'm not going to give away all my secrets, but in terms of marketing yourself, don't waste your money on Facebook or Instagram ads. They're not going to go anywhere. Just take good photos. Take good photos. People will share them. People will retweet them. People will post them in their story. And that's about it. There's no big secret giant trick to marketing yourself as a photographer. I could tell you stuff like, use the right hashtags, but Instagram's algorithm sucks and they'll hide your posts anyway. I could tell you to try to get featured on, big portrait pages or whatever kind of pages of work you do. But none of that's going to matter if you have like a great photo, you have like a one-hit wonder, and then that person clicks your tag, goes to your page, and the rest of your photos aren't just they're not going to follow you. They're not going to engage with your content. Just make sure your feed looks good. You have consistent good photos. Think of it like your feed is like your album. You don't want any filler songs. You want everything to be fire. You want everything to be a hit. So just post good photos, take good photos. People will notice. It'll take time, be patient, and that's really it. You can't market bad photos no matter how great you are at marketing.
I like that. I like that. So I like that. I definitely like that. So what are some slept on industries that you think people can get into to make money off of their photography? So people do weddings, people do different things like that. What's some slept on industries that you don't think a lot of people are really paying attention to? You don't have to give away all your sauce, but just a little something.
Well, I guess a big thing for me was I actually did the reverse. I used to do music videos. So I bought like a Canon DSLR because that was the cheapest video camera I could get at the time. And one day it was like, oh, this can take photos too. I might as well try out that feature. Well, I think nowadays a lot of people own nice DSLRs, nice mirrorless cameras for their photography that also do video, and they don't really explore that aspect of their camera. So their camera has that feature, so why not offer yourself to do some music videos? Go on Facebook Marketplace, go on Craigslist, see if anybody needs some basic video work. Start a YouTube channel. You have probably a 4K camera in your hands that you don't ever use the video function on. Start using the video function. It's on your camera. You paid for it to be there. Record yourself. Start a YouTube channel. Do something with it. It's a resource that most people have. They don't really tap into.
Definitely like that response. Definitely like those zens that you just dropped. So it's really interesting how you're going about doing your thing too, because I thought that you just sold presets on the side and just did photography work, but you literally found your own lane.
Yeah,
and
that's
make
what I'm
money
trying to
doing
do.
what you can do what you love. You can do what you love on your own time, and you still make cash, man. So like I definitely respect you. Definitely.